Welcome to this episode of YouTube where I've entitled it Two Choices, Snow or Cold. And anyone who lives in Minnesota is probably familiar with that. In the wintertime, when it warms up, we typically get Alberta Clipper or something comes through and dumps a little bit of snow, and then a high pressure system moves in and the temperatures drop. So we kind of go back and forth, and the wolves do quite well with that. The one thing we are facing this winter is we're already starting to get a snow buildup. In early January, we're about to shovel the roofs off in the exhibit, and in the front of the exhibit, the snow has got to go somewhere. So we're going to be getting a bobcat in the exhibit and be able to lift that snow and move it back. So you may, in the near future, see a big mound of snow that is moved away from the windows so that the wolves can't climb on the snow and then climb on the roof. So that's an important thing in a captive exhibit, that we don't give them access to the roof line. So basically, as we move forward here in this January season, we're monitoring the pups and how they're eating. We are still feeding daily. That's something that we haven't done with the other pups. Axel's doing quite well. He's at 89 pounds. Grayson, though, here, Grayson's a little bit darker saddle there. He's lagging behind by about 12 pounds. And again, that's been the MO of Grayson throughout the pup year, or the pup season here, to be a little bit behind. But we are feeding a lot of extra resources, and I'm not too worried about Grayson. As a matter of fact, he's on task with where Shadow was. Shadow was only 87 pounds at 11 months, and these pups just turned 8 months. And so Grayson's running about 76 pounds at 8 months, which is good. It's Axel that's the bigger one. He's bigger than Shadow was at a younger age. But anyways, so feed a lot of extra resources, and so you're seeing Denali caching. We do a lot of cover hay. Again, one of our objectives here in captivity is to do the best that we can to manage the wolves as well as we can. And we know that in the front of the exhibit, when they're running around, they're compacting the snow, taking out its insulating value, so it's just kind of like solid ice lying there. We want to make sure they feel comfortable, and so we use a lot of cover hay to be able to make that happen. But the other thing that we always deal with when we feed the pack is we have to recognize how much is lost to scavengers. And we do have resident ravens here. That means ravens that can hang out and live within our facility. And that's the biggest challenge that we have. As a matter of fact, there's a great article that came out of Michigan Tech University from the Al Rail folks talking about possibly the social relationship of wolves might have something to do with the fact that being more social and living in a group is economical from the standpoint of being able to consume resources that they might lose to scavengers. And we know that resources can be lost quickly to scavengers. We've got ravens here that can easily clear up a carcass, and so we're going to feed smaller quantities more frequently to prevent the ravens from eating the excess that the wolves don't eat. So that's one of the things that kind of happens here. And every time it snows, we need to put out more cover hay, and so we're going through a lot of that. It seems like we've had a lot of snowy days lately. But yes, these are ravens, not crows. Our crows actually migrate out where ravens stay as winter residents. So one of the other things we were watching the pups is they were picking up on learning techniques on their own, how to manage. And this is Grayson up on top of a double stacked set of rocks, give him some vantage point to be able to feed on his resources or his bones without having the rest of the pack interact. So we know the pups are doing well. Thanks to those of you who contribute Omega Golds. Their hides are coming in nicely. Their pelage is thick. They've got the long guard hairs. This is Grayson with Denali. Grayson's coat is a little less full than Axel, but we saw that with Aiden and Denali as well. Aiden had a little more stress in his life than Denali did, and his coat didn't perform as well. And we're seeing that, I think, with Axel and Grayson as well. So over in retirement, Grizzer and Luna are getting along a lot better. This is a transitional period. Again, this is something that we've not done before, where we've introduced 2 adult wolves. We've always introduced pups, and we know that wolves like pups, and they are bonded to pups, and they care for pups. But having 2 full-grown adults meet each other was something we've never done before, and we're pretty happy with it. and especially two adult wolves, with one of them having an obsessive food compulsive disorder, or not disorder, just personality trait. So Grizzer has been fabulous in dealing with Luna. He's tolerant, yet he stands up for himself. He doesn't let her push him around. And for a while there, we had to separate out Luna and Grizzer, clearly blocking them and closing gates so that they could feed. Now we're feeding, but we still have two people feeding, one on either side of the enclosure, but we're making headway on Luna's possessiveness. And Grizzer likes it. Grizzer loves being in the front. He likes coming in the building. He likes having access to the front yard. He really is an alert 12-and-a-half-year-old, going on 13, knowing what's going on. Just sights and sounds is real important for him. So that's something that we're kind of managing. And again, they share spaces. A lot of times Grizzer will go back to the east side and sleep on top of the den, whereas in the pack holding area where the webcam is here, Luna has a tendency to take that top den spot. But they're interacting more, and we're actually seeing on the surveillance camera, especially around later in the day, where Luna is doing a lot more play bowing, and they're inviting chase, and they're engaging with each other. And again, this is a slow process, but they're coexisting. But what I want from them is for them to, again, improve that bond so that they, again, not just coexist, but actually socially exist. And we're working on that. So that's it for this week's YouTube. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll keep you posted as the winter progresses. But watch the webcams for a big pile of snow coming up here by next week.